Hey everybody, welcome to the walkthrough video demonstration for WATS1010 Intro to Web Development Basic Markup Assignment. So this is about basic markup, and we're just going to be marking up a document. So here is the assignment repository for the course. If you scroll down, you'll be able to read the README file. We have the resources page inside of the course as well that gives you a lot of links and resources that are handy to use and reference as you complete this assignment. But this here is a list of requirements and what you need to do in order to complete this assignment. So if you look at it, you'll notice that we need to review the PDF in this repository. We need to open the index.html file. We need to make changes in it to make it a properly structured HTML5 document. It says that we need to use a proper HTML5 doc type declaration, and that's going to be important. We need to keep an eye out for all of the details. There is some use of superscript. There's some use of links, and bold headings are being used. So there's all kinds of things that we can see in the PDF that we'll need to figure out. And then we have a couple of images that we need to place in the document. And once we've gotten everything done, we need to upload it to the GH Pages, to a GH Pages branch for our repository. So we're going to need to make a new branch called GH Pages, and we're going to need to upload that to GitHub. And then that will, as you recall from the previous assignment, that will automatically publish this work to a page that we can view. And we'll need to get the URL for where that page shows up so that we can submit that as a part of our assignment submission. So that's what we have to do here. What's sort of unstated here is basically all of the work that we did on the previous assignment, where we need to fork this repository and then clone it to our development environment. That's just what we do to get set up to do work. So let's go ahead and fork this repository and then clone it to our development environment. So I'm going to click the fork button here. Click fork. I'm forking it to my personal repositories. It's now forking. And I can see now that I have a copy in my own area. As you can see here, this is my copy. It's just like the previous assignment. And just like the previous assignment, I know that the URL that I'm looking for is right here, and this is an SSH clone URL. And I'm just going to click this copy to clipboard button to copy this URL because I know that I'm going to need this URL. So now that I have this forked, and I have my clone URL copied, then I'm going to be able to go into Code Anywhere, which I've got pulled up in this tab here, and I'm going to be able to make a new dev box. So I'll run into a limit on Code Anywhere if I try to make too many dev boxes. So I'm going to delete this existing one. Note that this does not delete it from my GitHub account or anything. It just deletes the development box from Code Anywhere. So that's okay. I don't need that box anymore. I can close these tabs that I previously had open, and now I can click DevBox again and create a new one. I'm still going to use HTML CentOS. This one can be basic markup, and the get URL I'm going to paste in there, and I can just visually see that it's Sean R. WATS1010 basic markup 1, and I'm going to create that box. And as usual, this will take a couple seconds to create. While that's creating, let's go ahead and take a look at the PDF that came in this repository. You'll notice in the repository here, you can see the PDF here listed, and if you click it, then you can open it up. I've already done that just to speed things up. And this is what we see here. So we have Supreme Court of the United States, Brown versus the Board of Education, the case number and year, and then the dates argued, re-argued, and decided, and a subtitle there. There's an illustration of Integration at Ole Miss University by Warren K. Leffler, and there's a link And as you can see when I hover over that link, it is to a wikimedia.org citation page for this image. So this is a public domain image shared through wikimedia.org. The syllabus, notice that that is a heading. As we go through here, we have a list of items that is an ordered list. We then have opinion, which is a heading at the same level as syllabus. The Chief Justice John Warren is bolded. Notice that throughout here, we have instances of italicized case names. They show up all throughout. And if we scroll down, we get to the end of the decision, which has quite a few paragraphs in it. And we have another big link. And then we have another image with a citation and a link. And then unordered lists with subheadings that have the names of the justices and the years that they served. So this is the justices of the court section. That's another heading as well. So we have 3 levels of headings. We have the title of the document. We have the main areas, syllabus, opinion, and justices of the court. And then we have a couple of 3rd level headings here in the labels for which justices are in the picture. And we have some links, some italics, some superscript, some bolding, lots of paragraphs. You can be very extra cool if you figure out how to deal with ellipses, and if you can make smart quotes, which use a concept called HTML entities, which is a little bit beyond this assignment. But if you are looking for a way to push yourself, look up HTML entities and figure out how to encode those properly. So that's what we're shooting for. So our dev box is now created and initialized, and we see the usual dev box information message here. You're going to get used to seeing these, and just as a quick reminder, remember that your dev box really is an entire server, and so you can actually read about the operating system and everything that it's running. If you want to get exposure to Unix, this is a good way to do it. The DevBox DNS would really only be used for some pretty advanced experimentation and development work. We're probably not going to touch anything important there. If you did have a always-on DevBox, then you might use that DNS to put a specific domain name to it so that you could direct people to like demo.yoursite.com or something like that. And the one thing that we probably will use a lot, although it will generate this URL for us as well, is this one right here, which just allows you to connect and port XX, where you replace the XX with the port number for the machine. So remember, port numbers on machines are kind of like apartment numbers in an apartment building. The IP address is the street address of the apartment building, and the port number would take you to a specific door inside that apartment building. Similar with servers, port numbers represent specific applications. Typically, web servers run on port 80 in production mode. None of that is anything that you really need to worry about right now. We're going to jump right into doing the assignment. And so you notice here that we have a set of files. We have the PDF that we were referencing before, an index.html file, which I'll click on to open up. And you notice that it actually isn't an index.html file at all. It's actually just the text. So the goal of this assignment is to convert this into a proper index.html file. Then there's our image for an integrated classroom, which is at the top of that document, and the license file and the README file from the repository, and then the Warren Court image, which comes later in the document. So we're going to be going between this PDF tab and our Code Anywhere tab quite a bit as we work on this. So keep that in mind. The first thing that we're going to do is put in the basic HTML structure. So the we need first of all a doc type declaration. This helps web browsers know how to treat the file, and the declaration for HTML5 has been greatly abbreviated. As standards have become much more prevalent, doc type has become less important. It's primarily used for backwards compatibility on legacy browsers. So then we have our opening HTML tag, and the editor conveniently puts in a closing tag for us. That's great. We'll go ahead and let it continue to do that for a second, because we'll now put in the other basic tags of the HTML file. To create a basic HTML file structure, we add a head tag, and we will also add the body tag. Now, that's the basic HTML structure. All of the content that exists here should go inside the body tag. So what I'm going to do is just select all of this content. I'm going to cut it. I used Command X on my keyboard to cut it. If you were on a PC, you would use Control X. Then I'm going to use Command V to paste it, or Control V on a PC. And I'm going to paste it back in. Now, you notice that the indentation kind of got messed up. That's okay, because we'll be working through every line of this file, so we'll have plenty of time to fix it up. But before we fix it up, we should add a little bit more to the head, at least. We want to add a title. So let's add a title, and let's call it Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. So that lets us know what this is about. Titles are quite important. We'll talk a lot more about titles when we talk about search engine optimization and everything. For the most part, there aren't a lot of other tags that you really need to have in the head of your document to make a document that is basically accurate and correct. There are some tags that are strongly suggested and are quite helpful for you to have. So, in order to set up the head of this file properly, we're going to add a couple more meta tags. Meta tags are used by browsers to know better how to render the page. So we're going to use meta tags, and you can see here that Code Anywhere is actually helping me fill in these meta tags by suggesting different options. So the first one that I'm adding here is a character set definition, which is written like this. The tag is meta, the attribute is charset, and we're going to set that equal to UTF-8, which was hinted previously. So now we're going to add another meta tag that's very common to put in and which is still useful these days. This one will set a name attribute, and you notice that when we put in name, it gives us several options. So I'm going to pick description by using the arrow on my keyboard to arrow down, and then I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to put in a content attribute there. And you can see that, again, I know that I'm on the right track because I see content coming up as an option. And in the content, this is the actual content for the description that would be used like in search listings and things like that. If other sites were spidering my site, they might pick it up for use as a description. So I'm just going to say summary of U.S. Supreme Court decision in Brown v. Board of Education, 1954. And so that's that's going to be all that I'm going to put in the head for now. I might put style sheet references in the head in the future. I also might put JavaScript references in the head in the future. I might put additional meta tags in the head in the future so that it supports different types of display functionality and different types of browser rendering functionality. There's all kinds of things that could go into the head. Generally, you try to keep your head as lean as possible, just so that you don't have extra superfluous stuff. Everything in your file should mean something. But for now, that's how we'll do it. Now that we have this all set, we basically have an HTML structure and we have a legitimate HTML file. I will open up the project by right-clicking on the Basic Markup Dev box and hitting Run Project, and that will open up another tab here for me. And you'll notice that right now all of the content looks like just a big blob of text. That's because HTML, as you'll recall, does not recognize more than one space in a row. It doesn't care about white space. It doesn't care about new lines. It doesn't care about blank lines or anything like that. It only recognizes one space, and anything beyond one space is the same as far as HTML is concerned. So that's why we have to mark up all of the content to give it structure so that everything can flow together and be laid out properly. So we can see individual paragraphs, we can see links, we can see lists. All of these things happen because of the HTML structure that we give the content. So right now, all of this text content, the browser doesn't know what to do with it, and we haven't really defined anything in the website to say what we should be doing with it. So I'm going to go back into my index.html file, and I'm going to start laying things out here. And I'll notice if I start at the top of this file, I have basically this is bolded, but it's really just a paragraph. This part looks like a heading, so that looks like a heading, and these lines here all look like text, but just paragraphs, although these do not have as much space between them here. So I'm going to try to recreate this structure, just focusing on these few lines over here in my file. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put this inside of a paragraph. So I'm going to type a new paragraph tag. And you'll notice that when I type a paragraph tag, Code Anywhere, the editor, is handy in that it makes a closing paragraph tag and puts me inside of it. This is really handy if I'm writing content from scratch, if you're building up brand new pages from scratch. But right now, since I have all of this text content in here, I'm wondering if there might be an easier way, because it's going to get kind of annoying to keep copying and pasting or cutting and pasting the content into the tags when it does the closing tag. I'd sort of rather have it just let me type a tag at the beginning and then click at the end and type another tag. So I can make that happen in Code Anywhere. The editor has a lot of different functions, and as you work on different projects, you might want to explore some of these functions. But I'm going to go into my editor settings. Notice that I've also turned on autosave and auto highlight, so that and I have sounds turned on, so I can hear little clicks. If you hear little clicks in the background, that's it auto saving. Those are sort of handy features. I can see that I have all of these different options, and one of the options here is auto close tags, which it closes tags automatically. So if I turn that function off and I save it, then now when I put my bold tag around this, I think it won't close the bold tag, and so it didn't. So now that means that I have to remember to close the bold tag. Notice that there are only a few tags that don't have closing tags, and that's meta tags are one example of tags that don't have closing tags. But every other tag, you notice, has a closing tag. And so the opening tag is just the tag name, and the closing tag is the slash tag name, and that indicates that it's closing. So now this saved, so if I go over here and I refresh, you notice that I have now this line up here. So I'm on my way to success. Congratulations. Let's take a quick look at how to do this heading. And another feature of Code Anywhere is that you can indent multiple lines at a time. So if I select these 2 lines and then I hit the Tab key, you'll notice that I'm indenting them properly. Indentation is crucial when working on the web because we have to work together, and indentation helps us keep files that are much more readable and understandable. So as we order all of this content with our tags and everything, and we indent things properly, you'll notice how much of a difference proper indentation makes. So I'm going to add an H1 tag here, since that's the highest level of heading that I can get. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to close my H1 tag so that I have that closed. And so I've saved that, and I'm going to refresh over here in my preview to see what that looks like. And you notice that it put it all on one line, in spite of the fact that there's a line break in my code right here between these 2 lines. And there's supposed to be a line break here, as I can see in my document that I'm trying to emulate. So in order to get that line break in, I'm going to use the line break tag, which is a BR tag, and it's another example of a tag that does not have a closing tag. So there are, exceptions to the rule in HTML, and it's important to get used to them. Most of the exceptions to the rule are things that you use on a real common basis, so you get used to them fairly quickly. But these BR tags you'll use quite a bit as you lay out different content, because they allow you to make a line break without making a new paragraph. So block level elements have space between them on the page. Line break elements have less space between them. So if we go over here and preview the code again, you'll notice that now it's a line break, but it's closer. So there's more space between these 2 paragraphs up here than there are between the 2 lines of the title. And that's how it's supposed to be. I'll show you just really quickly the next paragraph as well. So we're going to put in another paragraph for all of these dates. And I'm going to indent these lines. And you notice that Code Anywhere knows to hop the end tag back to match. So it tries to help me. And again, this is saved, so I'm going to refresh. And what you'll see is that all of these dates go onto the same line, because again, HTML doesn't care that there are line breaks. HTML only respects the tags that we put in. So if we put in line break tags and we tell the HTML, we'll tell the browser to put line breaks between these lines, then it will do that for us. So we'll save and refresh again. And you notice now that we've got everything on an individual line. So this is the process that we're going to follow as we lay out this entire file. It's not as daunting as it seems. There's a lot of tools that Code Anywhere gives you to be able to accelerate the way that you type and the way that you put in information. But the most important thing here is just to focus really on every single paragraph and making sure that everything is proper. It's really critical that that we get everything proper throughout this file, and that we try to emulate as closely as possible without fonts or different, font sizes. We don't care too much about that because that's presentational, but we just want to get all of this content on the page and emulate this layout. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to work through all of this on video. I'm going to cut, and then I'll come back when I've got my part of the assignment done and I'm ready to push it up and check it on GitHub pages. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I'm back, and I was able to get this assignment done pretty easily. I went through and added in all of the markup that was required. I think the most annoying part was adding in the italics tags around all the names of all these court cases to properly set them off. But otherwise, went pretty smoothly. have some headings, some lists going on. Got the images in. Definitely critical to get the images in. Don't forget your alt tags on the images to help out the screen readers. And so all of this code, when rendered in the browser here inside of Code Anywhere, looks pretty close to our document here. You can see that all of our paragraphs are broken out properly. We've got italicization of the titles. We've got bolded elements there properly. We've got headings being used, an ordered list here. Even caught the super right there. So the asterisk is properly above the line so as to indicate that there's a note at the end of the document, which there is. So at this point in time, I am ready to do the whole GitHub shuffle and commit and make new branches and everything like that. So I'm going to open up this, enlarge this space a little bit down here for the SSH window so we can watch the commands as they go by. The first thing that I'm going to do is just commit all my work. I'm currently on my master branch, but I'm just going to commit my work. I'm going to say completed markup of index.html. That's going to be my commit message. Pushed my work, or I committed my work at least, and then now I will push it. And I successfully pushed my work. I can look at all of this message here. Lets me know that. So I am now going to make a new branch. So git create branch. Branch name is going to be GH pages. GH-pages, I should say. Now that I've created the new branch, I have everything saved. I'm going to refresh my page so that my branch will show up in my sidebar commands. I'm going to reload this page. That was pretty simple. Took away my preview window, but that's okay. I could always get that back if I need it. And I'm now going to say switch. Say push, actually, because I should already be on the branch. If I was wondering what was going on, now's a good time to introduce. There's a command called status for git, and if you run that, you'll see that I'm on the branch GH pages and I have nothing to commit right now, which means my working directory is clean. I don't have any changes outstanding on my local development area here. So that command is useful, git status. You might keep an eye, use that one occasionally. At any rate, now I just need to push this branch. So I'm going to push to get pages, and you can see my command preview that indicates that. Pushing. And it successfully pushed to GH pages. So now, if I click back into my local fork of this repository, and I will refresh the page, you'll notice that I see that I just authored now from Code Anywhere box. That's cool. And you will also, we could take a look and see that we now see the GH pages branch is there. So if I go into my settings here, I will be able to see that my site is published, seanr.github.io, and then WATS1010 Basic Markup 1. And I can see the work that I did. And this is the URL that I can share around so that people can see the lovely markup I did of the Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision from 1954. So, congratulations. We've completed another assignment. Hope you had fun with this one. It's a really good chance to learn some more commands in Code Anywhere. I will leave you with one tip, which is that putting all of those paragraphs goes in a lot easier if you use the multiple cursors feature in Code Anywhere. So there you go. If you want to reach for the stars, figure out how to get many, many, many cursors on the screen and type like that. All right, that's all for today. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.